Hello and welcome back to coverage of Grand Prix Oklahoma City. My name is Marshall Sutcliffe. I'm in the booth here with Jacob Van Lunen, and we're underway. Brendan McNamara on the left-hand side at 5-0 versus, that is definitely not Eric Froelich, and I don't think that's Brendan McNamara, to be honest, either. So we'll get those names updated for you as soon as we can.
Yeah,
I believe we have Seth Manfield.
On the left we have Fudao, and on the right we have Seth Manfield.
Yeah, that's what I think too. All right, so it looks like Seth has kicked things off with a Traveler's Amulet there, which he is going to crack right now. No play in the early stages here for Fu, so.
It looks like Fu happened to miss a land drop. Pretty rough. But, you know, with his opponent just using his turn to
All right, so here's the land drop for Seth. And he's going to play a Spear Point Oread, which is it's reasonable. I mean, I wouldn't call it super exciting, but it certainly works well with all the combat tricks and removal spells that green and red offer. And also anything with Bestow goes nicely on it, too.
Yeah, I mean, a card like that, First Strike in general, is very strong in this set. Every color has a ton of combat tricks. It's just pretty huge.
And that's an Akroan Crusader there. Not exactly the ideal turn 4 play there for Seth. But, you know, hey, at least he's committing more stuff to his board. And unfortunately for Fu, he's had to discard now. Horizon Scholar hits the bin as he is just stranded on 2 lands. I see he's got a Gray Merchant of Asphodel in his hand. And there's a Savage Surge, which is going to make a 1/1 hasty token. It's also going to increase the damage count. So Seth is pressing his advantage as hard as he can. He's sitting at 6-0 in this tournament, as is Fu. So here we go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage crashing in. And Fu's going to drop down to 12.
I think we can
draws his card in. It's a swamp, so here we go. And it's a Blood Toll Harpy, not what you want to be playing. It doesn't actually block anything greatly here. I mean, sure, you can throw it in front of the Crusader, but you do what you got to do. I'm not saying he shouldn't, but geez, it's going to trade, and he takes another damage, drops down to 11. Everybody into the red zone here. I would assume, oh, no block? Maybe he's got an Eidolon. What does he have going on here? And there's a Nessian Courser as a follow-up play for Seth Manfield. Perfectly reasonable play here. Another land, though. Unfortunately, his life total is suffering greatly here. Showing him at 7, is that right?
That is correct. He must have something like Gray Merchant in his hand.
He does have a Gray Merchant in his hand.
Yeah, so he's figuring, you know, he's going to get that point back anyway from having the devotion, but he's going to take 2 hits from the Crusader even if he draws in the land. So
he's looking to take 5 damage this turn at least. I mean, he is way behind, and he still has to peel the 3rd land in a row to be able to get that play down. If he does, man, Gray Merchant's sweet here, but yeah, everybody.
I don't know if it's enough, though.
I think you're right, because he's going to have to block here. So here's a chump block and an Eat Your Guy. That's going to be 3 damage. Drop Fu down to 4, which means he's out of Lightning Strike range, which is definitely a big positive for him here.
And being at 5, you know, it's not where you want to be when your opponent has 3 guys and you have 1 guy in play. Missing those land drops was just
he
too
should be at
brutal
4, I think. Yeah, there we go. It's at 4 now.
Okay.
Yes, but it's still
even worse.
Yes.
Life has been updated for match B.
And he just says go ahead. So that's actually kind of a relief. Is it a land? No. Is it a Traveler's Amulet?
Yes, it is.
Oh, man, people often substitute one of those in for a land, and this is one of the scenarios where you can see that is not exactly a land.
Yeah, I mean, Traveler's Amulet is a fine card.
It is. He's got 17 lands plus the amulet here as well, so perfectly reasonable for Fu, but he is just so far behind. Everybody comes in, and now he's got a chump block. He really, really needed to hit that land drop there to be able to cast this Gray Merchant. Now it just feels like he's not going to be able to come back. And he is not able to come back, and we're going to see a game 2. So pretty classic there. Missing land drops. kept a 2-lander, didn't quite get there. There's Seth. Handily dispatched Fu in that game, but still looks a little stressed about it.
Yeah, I mean,
concentrating.
He's in the 6-0 bracket in a SEAL tournament. It's always kind of scary because, once you start getting this deep and you're still undefeated, you start getting these, you start having the fear.
Yes.
What bombs does my opponent have? Maybe I made it here because my opponent stumbled a little bit and I played tight and I have good commons and uncommons, but now I have to worry about people having just rares all over the place. They're playing, 4 rares in their deck that are all ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that starts to happen when you start getting deep in these SEAL tournaments. And
that can absolutely happen.
Great play skill can overcome a lot, but it can only overcome so much.
That's right.
Looking here at Fu's deck, Fu has an excellent.
Yeah, we'll take a look at that in a sec. Let's take a look at the upcoming webcast schedule here. Pro Tour Theros, I mentioned it a little earlier. Next weekend, October 11th through 13th, Standard and Theros Draft. We're going to be bringing that to you, everything from Dublin. That's going to be awesome. GP Louisville is next. That's actually the following weekend, right afterwards. We're bringing you a lot of Magic. In fact, I'm doing all of these. So I'll be here, then Theros, and then in Louisville. So we have 3 weeks in a row of just awesome Magic. Then Grand Prix Antwerp is Modern. That's over in October 26th and 27th, the following weekend after that. Then we have GP Valencia. It's another Theros Limited, 9th and 10th. So we'll string together 4 weekends in a row there. Or is that even 5? No, not quite. But 4 weekends in a row of coverage for you guys. Then GP DC. Not a lot of these during the course of a year, but it's the Legacy GP. We had one in Denver very early in the year, and here's the other one, Legacy, November 16th and 17th. That's going to be really interesting. We don't get to see Legacy on the big stage that often, and it's always exciting when it does happen. After that, Grand Prix Albuquerque, Standard, November 23rd through 24th, and then Grand Prix Vienna in Austria is Standard as well, November 30th through December 1st. A lot of action coming up for you Magic fans at home. And let's take a quick snapshot here. Is that actually Brandon McNamara?
I'm not quite sure.
I'm showing everything should be okay.
I'll be there in Louisville with you also, though.
Did that help?
Yep. Yeah, you will. So you've got 3 weekends of Magic as well.
Good card.
Yeah.
There we go. Brian Tidwell versus Chris Finel.
Oh, wow.
Chris is a noted limited player.
Yes, I mean
he's considered a guru among his friends and people that know him.
He is currently on
He's considered a guru by Ben Stark.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's one of the highest win percentages in limited amongst. I think anybody who has over some number of matches played. I forget the statistic, but he is just one of the very best limited players around.
Yeah, he is considered that. He's got a pretty nice little board here. He's got Spear of Heliod, and that's letting his Opaline Unicorn do a little blocking. But this is where it gets nasty. If he starts following this up with play after play, he's going to attack with his Leonin Snarecaster, get in there for 3 damage. And let's see what his follow-up is. Ooh, Phalanx Leader. That is definitely what he wants to see there. Ooh, he's got extra mana. He's got 4 mana available. But he seems a little hesitant to use it. He's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, at this point, his opponent is missing land drops, and as long as his opponent doesn't have black mana, his opponent's going to continue to be forced to suicide these raiders into his unicorn.
Yep. It's just they bounce currently, but yeah, he's going to block one of them and take 2 here.
Yeah, but the spear finishes them off. It's the.
It's still just a 2/3 though, right?
Oh yeah, but I mean he's attacking them into open spear mana, and then the spear just finishes it off.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I understand. The spear
kills
itself.
the one.
Yeah, I thought you meant that the pump from the spear, but you mean the spear itself. Yep, absolutely. Yeah. And like you mentioned, no black mana to regenerate. Let's pop back over to Seth Manfield versus Fu Dao.
punch, 4 damage. I'll click out 3 maneuvers. Target this. And this.
Omen Speaker's getting in there for Fudao.
Yeah, Omen Speaker, quite a good limited card. You know, in Constructed, it's a card that I think a lot of people have tried to feel out a little bit, but Scrying 2 is pretty important when you're trying to set up your deck to, you know, curve out or to hit specific land drops.
Yeah. Ooh, here we go. Thassa's Emissary.
That's an incredible card.
That's
one of my favorite
card.
cards in the set.
Yeah, I love that card.
I mean, a Blue Hill Giant is way above the curve already, and the fact that it gets, you know, the Ophidian ability is pretty unbelievable. So.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that kept back Nessian Courser. It at least forces Seth to have a follow-up play that can block, because he just cannot afford to take a hit from Thassa's Emissary.
Every time that hits you, you know, your opponent starts getting extra cards, and there are very few ways to achieve card advantage in this format, and
it gets so ugly.
Is definitely one of them.
Yeah, once they start hitting you with that, it just goes downhill so quickly. And Blue has, you know, instant speed and sorcery speed bounce spells. And he's just going to do nothing for the turn, it looks like. Seth just ships a turn back, so let's see what happens here. Looks like he's representing some type of combat trick so that he can maybe block and pump or just block. All right. There's a Harpy. It's a 2/2 flying lifelink. So I'm just going to ship the turn, and sure enough, Seth does nothing for the turn. Content to just stare his opponent down. He's got his 5th mana now. He's going to have to start developing his board here, though. Passing the turn on turn 4 and just not doing anything is, well, it's not a step in the right direction.
Definitely not.
Yeah, that's the ideal play right there. Nessian Asp, that's going to get away in the Harpy. It also just blocks anything else on the ground. Really nice card there. He still didn't attack, though, with his Nessian Courser. He just doesn't want to risk having his Asp dealt with in any way and then just take a ton of damage and draw a card and all that other stuff. So,
yeah, I like the pass without attacking. I think it's the best course of action here. I mean, there's a huge range of cards that Fu could have that would allow him to get in with the Emissary.
That's right.
Attack with both there.
All right, so Viper's Kiss is that's kind of awkward. Viper's Kiss on a Nessian Asp. It's like he probably wants to get a kiss from another snake. I mean, I don't see the problem, but that will keep him from getting monstrous. He cannot activate that ability anymore, so that's kind of effective here against what was going to be really just a huge blocker. Still does a good job blocking, though, even in this scenario.
Yeah, I mean, a 3/4 is nothing to scoff at.
It's true.
Especially when it has reach.
Yep.
Oh, my goodness.
Feral Invocation, but he did it during the main phase so that he could fire off Anger of the Gods. This is... wow, Triton tactics here. He's going to target the Harpy and Shelly.
Yeah, that's a really nice
and
play.
That works.
Yes,
that is one of the few ways to get around Anger of the Gods in the colors that he's in. That is absolutely insane.
Very good.
It can be.
I like it a lot.
I'm not as big of a fan of it.
Really? Okay.
I think it's fine. Let's just say I don't find it exciting. But you can certainly find ways to make it good, and he absolutely did there. Because that was going to be really nasty. Is that Psychic Intrusion?
It is.
Maybe we can bring Psychic Intrusion up on the screen for you guys. It's kind of a cool card.
It seems pretty strong in Sealed deck, to be honest.
I think you're right. Especially in the right matchup.
Oh, wow. I mean, taking the Asp or Perverse Emissary, both pretty good here. I think the Emissary is probably the better pick.
So that's going to stay up there, and he's going to be able to cast that at a later time. He can use any colored mana to cast it.
Yeah, so he's probably going to want to bestow that.
Can he bestow it?
Yes.
Okay. So he's I think he's 1 mana away. That one costs 6, I believe.
Yeah, and then, he can create his own Baneslayer Angel.
This is kind of insane.
And not only is it a Baneslayer Angel, but it has to be blocked by multiple guys. So
this set is all over the place.
He's just psychic. It's been the
this is pretty cool.
This is really
What's
cool.
happening right now?
Yeah, it really is.
Don't worry about it. I don't think I've seen any cards.
Had a few games that are a little bit one-sided now, but we just watched a rare like Anger of the Gods and a very powerful uncommon like Perforos Emissary lose to the combination of Psychic Intrusion and Triton Tactics.
Yeah, and Triton Tactics. This is
Pretty
really
cool.
interesting stuff, yeah. All right, send him in. So a 5/5 and a 3/4, so that would be 8 damage, and it looks like Foo's just going to take it.
I mean, when you're attacking for 5 life linking damage on the following turn, if you hit your land drop, it's not really the end of the world. Probably just another Asp coming down.
He's got 3 mana lined up this time. Oh, he's got time to feed here to take down Thassa's Emissary.
That also puts the
Post-combat.
race math. I believe that puts the race math in his favor, so that's pretty good there.
The race math? I mean, he's way ahead, right?
Well, no, because the Emissary comes down on the
I see.
lifelinker, and
Is there something you need?
All right, that's your freebie.
I got you. No problem.
interesting.
All right, here's a Grip Tide to get rid of this Nessian Courser. So, Jake, I'm noticing in the chat that a few of the people said you actually can't bestow from exile. Do we know if that's... I don't know. Bestow's a tricky mechanic, and I don't want to say it unless I know. You said you think you can, but we don't know for sure. He did hit his mana that can actually allow him to do it.
No, I believe you can.
Okay.
If I read the cards, so. Love to ask a judge if we can get an opportunity to, but.
Nothing like a judge call to the commentator's booth. They're like,
Yeah.
is that a Night Howler?
It is a Night Howler.
All right, how many creatures? Okay, so that's why he was asking about the graveyard. So I don't know how many it's at right now. Okay. 1, and then I think 1 or 2 on the other side. So Nessian Asp is going to jump in the way. He's going to gain the life from it. He needed to have 3/3/3 in order to actually take down the Asp.
I mean, how long do you get though? That's fine. Whatever. I mean.
So Jake, it looks like he attacked it into the Nessian Asp, but it wasn't big enough to actually kill it. It falls off now.
I mean, if he had the if he was able to bestow the Emissary, he probably would have done that. So maybe everyone's right, but it seems as though you can to me.
Oh, I see. It's 7 mana. It's not 6.
Oh yes,
it's 7.
I'm sorry. I was mistaken.
So that's the hang up here, because I think you can bestow, but he needs the mana to do it. All right, here's a Grey Merchant of Asphodel. He's going to cast that here, and that's actually pretty decent. It's going to be a 8 life swing, but he is still way behind. You know, Jake, how many times are we going to see this throughout the course of this tournament? Huge creatures are just winning. Just these Nessian Asps and Ill-Tempered Cyclops are just beating down for huge amounts of damage.
Yeah, and, you know, Fu has done some really powerful things this game, and it just didn't matter. His opponent just played bigger monsters.
Yep, and there's a Rage of Perforos, and the hand extension means that Seth Manfield beats Fu Dao 2 games to nothing.
I mean, I was greedy, and you could have like the stymied hopes or something, like, but you know, I was just going.
Said he was playing around stymied hopes. Nobody wants to get stymied hoped. That is the worst feeling possible.
That's just the worst when you get when somebody.
All right, let's flash back over here to Chris Finel and Brian Tidwell.
They're in game 3 here, it looks like.
Okay.
Ooh, Chris has some rares in play.
Wow, Celestial Archon on the side and a 100-handed one. It looks like he's going to, instead of Monstrousing the 100-handed one, he's going to use this opportunity to get in a bunch of damage, perhaps lethal damage, with the Leonin Snarecaster tapping down the Raider. He's going to force a chump block, it looks like. I see that there's a Perforos, God of the Forge, on the battlefield. And there's that spell again.
Oh, my goodness.
I think that makes it lethal, right? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, and that's going to do it. And that's it. Chris Finel is our winner, it looks like.
I just wanted to resolve that and go out of range.
I believe I must have misjudged that card. Lots of fast games here. Pretty unbelievable.
That was game 3, right?
Chris Finel moving on to 7-0.
Yep.
One of